Hey, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're at. Today is Tuesday, December 22nd, and it is cold outside because it's December 22nd, so not really much of a shock. But every year there's the same issue that keeps coming up and up and up, and I used to answer it. Well, I have answered it publicly before, but then every year when I was tending bar, I would have to answer it and deal with this sometimes a couple times a day because people think they're really pretty clever with this question, and I'm not so sure that it's as clever as they think it is. But in any case, the question is about Christmas movies, and is Die Hard a Christmas movie? And I want to answer it a little bit differently this year. I want to answer it as a real estate agent, as a realtor would answer this question, because it does change the nature of the question and the answer. But the short answer is no. Die Hard is not a Christmas movie. It is merely a movie set at Christmas time. What's the difference? Well, let's talk about what is a Christmas movie. So genre criticism is defined by Carlin Cors Campbell and Kathleen Hull Jamieson. A genre has a constellation of elements. These elements are something that exists to each member of that genre, and that's how you can determine if something is or is not part of a genre. So what are the genres, what are the elements of a Christmas movie? Well, I want to make it harder for me by discarding some elements that are fairly obvious, but yet I don't think really are. The easy one is it's a kids movie. You know, most Christmas movies are kids' movies, and so you would think that that would be an element. And if it were an element, then clearly Die Hard is not a Christmas movie. However, I don't think it's true that all Christmas movies are for kids. And so I don't think that that's a fair element, which, the opposition will say, see, Die Hard is a Christmas movie because it's not a kids' movie, but no. Not that way. But what are elements of the Christmas movie? And I think there are only really two that adhere. The first is that there has to be some sort of supernatural element. Santa Claus, Jesus, religion. And I mean, there's some sort of supernatural, which is not to say not true, but just that, it's not something that exists every day running around that you're going to see or have some sort of material effect from. The second thing is that there has to be a loss of and then a rediscovery of the Christmas spirit, whatever the Christmas spirit is. Doesn't really matter how you define it, but there needs to be the loss and the redemption of that Christmas spirit. So let's think of some prominent Christmas movies, and we can identify these two. The one that I like coming back to is It's a Wonderful Life. I love that Christmas movie. Miracle on 42nd Street. Hate that Christmas movie, but clearly it's a Christmas movie. Things that involve, Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, Christmas Journey, A Christmas Carol, they all contain those two elements. And so let's just say that the genre has those two elements. Let's make it as easy and as clean a definition as possible. So, Die Hard. Does Die Hard have those elements? I would say no. One, there's no supernatural element in Die Hard. It's all Bruce Willis just being a complete badass. Yeah, that's it. And even some of the villains are actually kind of awesome too, but they just chose the wrong side. They chose poorly. The second aspect, the second element about redemption, loss of, and the redemption of the Christmas spirit in Die Hard. No, I'd say that that's also not present. And so, therefore, Die Hard is not a Christmas movie. It's just merely set at Christmas time. Now, there's an easy test, one doesn't require you to dive into notions of genre criticism and whatnot. And it's that, could you replace Christmas with some other holiday and the movie would still adhere? Would it still be the same? And I would argue yes. What if instead of a Christmas party, what was happening at the Nakamoto Towers was a Thanksgiving party or a New Year's party or a birthday for the company? All of those could have been the precipitating event for that party, and the story would remain the same. Therefore, Christmas is not necessary to the telling of the story. It just happens around Christmas time. Now, I have heard one new argument for why it is a Christmas movie, and that's an old roommate of mine who now lives up in New Hampshire is a chef, and one of the writers of the movie was in his club one time, and he approached the writer and said, "Hey, is Die Hard a Christmas movie?" And the writer said, "Yes." Dude, that's a terrible, terrible reason. One, so what? So what if the writer thinks he is? That doesn't mean it is. And two, writers are notorious for creating things. I mean, that's what they do. They are writers. They make things up from whole cloth. So, yeah, what a terrible argument. Not to mention, let's just get back to the old trope. The writer is dead. You know, the effect of the movie is what matters, not what the writer intended. Let's not measure things based on intent. Let's just measure them based on effects, based on material effects. Now, how would a realtor answer this question? They would answer it real simply by saying that's the wrong question. It doesn't matter if it's a Christmas movie or not. What matters is its location and its comparison to other movies at the time where it is playing. And, think of it this way. If you are in a neighborhood and there are different styles of houses there. You have ranch styles, you have patio homes, you have cottages. The realtor's not going to say, oh, well, this one's more valuable because it's a ranch style. The realtor's not going to say, the patio home is not nearly as valuable because it's a patio home, or the cottage style or the shotgun house is not as valuable. Rather, the realtor is going to say, let's look at how it compares, the size of the home, the location, the yard, the fixtures inside of it, what kind of insulation it has, does it have roof damage, does it have foundation issues. The realtor is going to say that is what matters, not is it a ranch home or is it a non-ranch home. And the same with Die Hard. How does Die Hard stack up to other movies that you could be watching? There is an opportunity cost to watching Die Hard, and it's that you can't watch something else at the same time. So, if you like Jimmy Stewart, but you don't like Bruce Willis, then Die Hard is not a good movie. But if you like Bruce Willis and hate Jimmy Stewart, then Die Hard's a fantastic movie. You can also watch Die Hard at different times of the year and measure that opportunity cost. That's how the realtor would answer that question. And so that's a little bit different spin on it this year than I've provided previous years. If you have any comments, please let me know. Disagree, agree. I mean, we really know you really don't have a good disagreement, but I am willing to entertain those arguments because I'm curious myself what I've missed, what arguments I need to answer, or what arguments may change my mind. I'm open, especially since the question doesn't really matter. It's just a silly kind of thought game. But in any case, smash that like button. Tell me you like what you saw here. Tell me that you want to see some other interesting questions raised. How a real estate agent would answer things that are conundrums. I don't know that I really want to commit to making that a full-on series. But in any case, I hope you have happy holidays. Merry Christmas. I hope Bruce Willis comes and saves you if you need it. And more importantly, I hope you don't need him to come save you. All right. Love you. Bye.